So I'd like to get real with you and talk about something that I think is really important and something that we don't talk about enough. Just curious to anyone out there who's ever felt less than in a yoga class, maybe from comparing themselves from someone else. If they've ever felt like they're a failure because they can't do a handstand or a back bend. If they've ever set up their mat in the back corner of the room so no one else will see them. If they think deepening their practice means they have to be able to do the more complex poses like arm balances. Now, if I felt those things as a 500-hour teacher, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's someone out there, hopefully watching this, who has felt that at one time or another. I think setting goals in our asana, our postures, is a great thing, and I'm constantly working on something in my body that I know needs attention. A lot of people want to learn to stand on their hands, and it's a great goal, but it's not necessarily the posture that's so important, it's what it teaches us. Being able to stand on your hands requires core strength. It requires mobility and strength in your upper body, flexion in your hands, and also we work through psychological barriers of fear. It's scary to kick upside down or that we might fall out of our pose. Setting goals and creating direction are essential, and without them, I would be completely derailed. But that being said, I really want to focus on this idea of how we can deepen our practice that is so much more than what we experience on a physical level on our mat. Yoga is said to be an 8-limbed path. And in those 8 limbs, asana, postures, is the 3rd limb. Before that comes breathing and breath work, pranayama. And before that, the very first limb is yamas and niyamas. And what that means is yamas, social ethics, and niyamas, personal ethics. And today I want to dive into our social ethics of the yamas as that primary base in your yoga practice. And welcome if you're new here. My name is Ali. Here at the channel, we do things like yoga, conditioning and toning, breathing and meditating. Some of the things that I think we need to help maintain sanity in a completely insane world right now. Consider subscribing, which helps the channel grow. And now back to our regularly scheduled program, which is deepening our yoga practice. I will gladly and humbly throw myself under the bus on where I need to constantly work to keep myself true and authentic to yoga on the mat, but also in the real world. Our first yama is Ahimsa, and that translates to non-violence. Now, I would think that if you are watching this, it goes without saying that none of us want to harm or intentionally, maliciously hurt anybody. I want you to try to go a little bit deeper with this and think about our self-talk. Are we critical or judging ourselves, or maybe harshly judging someone else? Substance abuse, maybe drinking too much or staying up too late and not honoring the fact that our body just really needs sleep and we become self-destructive. This can be seen as violent. Then we have Satya, which means honesty or just not to lie. And it sounds easy enough, and I try my best not to lie, but I can even say for myself that I'm guilty of perhaps withholding a little bit of the truth, where I don't necessarily lie, but I'm afraid I might hurt someone, and withhold some of the details. I try to take this one step deeper, and the word that comes to mind is denial. Sometimes I need to step back and examine my life from a distance and really be honest with myself on whether I need to ask for help. And for years, I'm the type of person who would have not accepted help or insisted on trying to fix or do something myself, when really, I just needed to be honest and tell someone that I was struggling. Asteya, which means non-stealing. Now, I'm going to share an example with you where I get to throw myself under the bus. In yoga teacher training, they had Whole Foods come and talk about nutrition. Now, I'm a nutrition professional. I have a degree in it. I also went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So when the speaker had said something that was new to me, I was asking a lot of questions. And at one point he stopped, he looked right at me and he said, Asteya. And I had no idea what that meant. It was one of my first few times going to the teacher training. After the fact, he pulled me aside and explained that by me asking so many questions, I was stealing from everybody in the room. And that's when it clicked with me. Now, I'm a realtor. I sold houses for years. I love it. I still do it, but yoga is my passion, so this is what I do full time. But I was late for everything. I was always 5 or 10 minutes late, and I would joke about it. But now how I see being late is I'm stealing from someone else, that my time is more important than their time. Of course, I'm not always on time, but if I am going to be late, I call, I let them know, and I do my best to be on time. This may seem like a small ask, but I want you to really consider this and how it relates back to what I'm talking about. Next time you're having a conversation with someone and you hear your phone go off with a notification, text message, email, whatever, can you make the conscious choice to not look at your phone, but rather continue to give your attention to the person that's in front of you? That'll be a lot harder challenge than we may think it is, but I want you to start correlate an action like that back to your yoga practice. Brahmacharya, which means non-excess. Many people just correlate this yama back to sex and sexual activity or sexual partners, but I want you to think of this on a more broader spectrum. Is there anything that you're doing in life in excess? Too much caffeine, watching too much TV, video games, time spent looking down on your phone with social media, even too much of a good thing, and that could be yoga. If you have a vigorous practice, practicing every day may be excessive, where you need to learn how to diversify, whether it's a little bit of yin yoga, spending more time in meditation or doing yoga nidra. And we just need to look at our lives and ask ourselves, is there anything that we're doing too much of? Aparigraha, which means non-greed or not being so attached to our possessions or our physical body. And I think this is a really challenging one, especially in today's day and age when we have social media, where on Instagram or Facebook, people are putting the best of themselves out there, and it's hard not to compare yourself to others or desire what you don't have. This is one of the reasons why for years I refused to start a YouTube channel. I didn't want to look at my performance in relation to others or compare my practice, which I cherish so much, to others, or how many followers or likes I get. It took a worldwide pandemic to get me behind the camera when really I just wanted to share yoga with the world. Can we be less attached to our accomplishments, our hair, our cars, our bodies? Whether this was brand new to you or perhaps it was just a review, maybe let me know in the comments if one of these resonated or hit home with you. Every single one of them tends to put me in my place. Yoga is supposed to be the epitome of non-judgment, and I can say for myself that when I get on my mat, I have to work very hard to not judge, to just assess where I am in the moment, and there's a big difference in that. Try to enjoy your yoga practice as it unfolds. Share this with anyone who you think might need to hear it. I'd love to see you in some of my other yoga videos, and until then, Namaste.